In this video, we're going to create a line drawing of a desert scene using the basics of composition. We're going to add elements of depth. We're going to utilize the rule of thirds. We will also add a focal point and then use elements to frame our scene. So grab your supplies, your pencils, your pens, whatever you draw with, and let's get started. First, let's sketch a horizon line. So we'll draw a straight horizon line, horizontal line, about 1/3 of the way up from the bottom of the paper. This will represent the sky meeting the desert landscape. Second, let's create a path. So I want to draw a winding and slightly curved line from the bottom of the canvas or paper, whatever you're drawing on. We're going to start kind of near the center and gradually extending towards the horizon line. This is going to represent the desert trail. Next, we're going to add elements for depth, and we want to create a sense of depth. So we're going to draw some small cacti, some rocks, some bushes along the trail, and with the larger objects closer to the viewer and the smaller ones are going to be further away. We want to utilize the rule of thirds, so let's place key elements of the composition, such as like large cactuses or rocks, at the intersections of the imaginary lines created by dividing the paper into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. This will help create a more visually appealing and balanced composition. Now we want to add a focal point, so we want to draw distinctive objects like a lone tree or distant mountains near the end of the trail where it meets the horizon line. And this will create a focal point to draw the viewer's eyes through the scene. We also want to frame the composition. So we're going to add a few sparse clouds in the sky or a sun setting in the horizon. This will help frame the scene and guide the viewer's attention to the focal points. So next we want to refine our lines. Go over your sketch with a fine liner or a pen to create clean, precise lines. If you're just using pencil, just use your pencils to create a more fine line. You can choose the style that you draw this in. So you can use different types of lines, such as dashed or dotted or scribbled. And this will help to add texture and variety to the scene. If you're using pen, after you fill in all the details with the pen, you can erase the pencil lines. So get an eraser, gently erase all the remaining pencil marks. At this point, you can start shading if you want. So you can add some shading to your line art by using hatching, cross-hatching, or stippling techniques, and this will help to create a sense of depth and volume. If you're using pencils, you can begin using shading techniques with graphite. And once that's done, sign your artwork and share it with your friends and family. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you're able to learn some good things on composition and we're able to have some time to draw. And I have other videos that explain more about composition as well as how to draw the fundamentals. Check them out. And please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.